Hello, dear Virgo. How are you? Welcome. I hope you are doing very, very well. Virgo, welcome to your love reading. We're going to do two readings. First, for Virgos who are single, Virgos without a partner, and then we'll do a love reading for Virgos who are in a relationship. All right, let's get started. Love reading, great energies available for single Virgo. Single Virgos. Let's see what the energies are telling us for you. Let's see. Single Virgos, you have the Four of Pentacles here. Let's see over here. We have the King of Pentacles. We have the Ace of Pentacles, the Sun, the Three of Swords, the Queen of Swords, the World, the Eight of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles. And at the bottom of the deck, here you have the King of Wands, Virgo. Virgo, I see something quite interesting in your reading because I see that there is healing of a wound, but there is also a clear opening in your love life. And there are some fast movements there, things that are starting to get unstuck. Okay? So it also gives me the feeling, especially with the card at the bottom of the deck, like that desire to move forward, that initiative, right? That desire to fall in love again, that desire to take control of your love life again, right? Like leaving behind a time of stagnation, of passivity, maybe of being alone, right? Like I see you there with a lot more determination. Okay, let's start analyzing. Let's start here. I feel like this is the energy that's available, right? And you start off with an energy where we see you there kind of protecting yourself a little bit, right? It could be that you come from past experiences where you've given a lot, right? And yes, you might have felt that wound, or maybe you felt hurt before, right? So there's currently a tendency here to keep certain kinds of feelings, emotions, to not want to show vulnerability, right? To observe as well before making a decision or before trusting another person. Or it could also be that you're keeping control, right? Emotional control, right? I mean, what I feel here is caution when it comes to getting to know someone, right? It's like, for example, before getting to know someone, I need to feel safe. I need to feel secure, okay? Now, there's still an energy of stability here. I see maturity, there's security, right? Communication. It's on your mind. You're looking for a serious relationship, right? Right? It's like you know what you want. You want a connection that gives you stability. You want a connection that brings something very positive and valuable to you. I mean, it's not that you're looking for some kind of adventure or something fleeting, but you really want to build something solid, okay? Entonces, so if we continue with the reading, I see that there's a new beginning here. There's a real opportunity here for you, and this could be a real connection, or also the possibility to build something lasting with someone. This isn't an illusion, but I feel like it's a door that's opening for you. So it seems to me that you're moving from emotional protection toward a real opportunity, right? Emotional stability of starting a bond, okay? Now let's get to the central part. And here there's something very deep, because I see that there's an internal process you're going through. You're starting here with the sun, and what you have here is clarity. Everything is being illuminated here, especially everything that has been hidden. So it could be that you're also at a moment where you're becoming aware of or thinking about things, right? Be very clear with yourselves about what you want in a relationship, what you won't allow, what isn't negotiable, what you won't tolerate, right? Also bring to light and recognize which wounds were left open. So there's a truth here that's being exposed. Now, here's the root of the situation, because I feel like there's a wound. There's a significant emotional wound, and this might have to do with a past relationship. If there has been rejection here, if there has been disappointment with someone, a letdown, right? Or a connection that didn't work out, that could be it too, right? But this energy, notice, is surrounded by really positive and strong energies. So I feel like this wound is being processed right now. You know, it's like right now you're thinking, yes, there was pain. I'm sorry. But it doesn't have the same power as before anymore. I mean, it's there, but I'm seeing it from a different place. Why? Because there's wisdom here. There's wisdom here. I feel like there's a Virgo here who's being more selective. He's more mature. He's also seeing love from a different perspective. He also has more discernment, more emotional intelligence, and he idealizes much less. So I feel like there's an energy here where many of you are thinking, well, I'd rather be alone than in bad company, right? So choosing someone from that place brings a much healthier relationship for oneself, because you're not searching out of lack or neediness. Okay. If we go to the last row, here we can see a bit about the near future, right? And about the energies that are going to start manifesting. Here you have the energy of a stage that you are completing. There is something you are closing. And I feel this as a relationship cycle of lessons. Something is definitely coming to an end. For some of you, this could be either heartbreak, a story that was left unfinished, and now you're finally letting it go, finally closing it. It could also be an attachment from the past or an old version of yourself. So feel that with this energy, what you have is release. It's that feeling of freedom. I finally got this off my chest. I was able to process it and let it go. We have movement here, right? And I feel this movement as if things are starting to get unstuck, that certain events are starting to speed up, right? And pay attention, because you might have encounters. There could be unexpected meetings. There could also be messages. There could be conversations or some kind of invitation, okay? I feel that what has been stuck, what has been still, is going to start speeding up. It's going to start moving, okay? Now this row ends. And so does this reading, right, with building something solid. What I feel here is that, let's see, even though we've talked about there being an opportunity to get to know someone, there's no love at first sight here, right? No, right? This isn't la paso paso at first sight, but rather something that will be built and will happen step by step. This is like, well, I allow myself to get to know that person, but gradually, right? Like building trust, building that solid foundation with the other person, right? This is ideal for that kind of relationship that can last over time, okay? Now, the good thing is this energy, right? Because what I feel, Virgo, is that after these situations where you've withdrawn, after these situations where you've processed that wound, you're regaining your confidence. And this is very important, because you're regaining your enthusiasm, regaining your drive, regaining your self-esteem. It's like saying, I'm starting to feel alive emotionally again, and now I'm truly open. So it's true that this wound led you to close yourself off and protect yourself, right? But keep in mind that you're finishing a very important cycle, and you're also starting to gain clarity about what you really want, giving yourself the chance to open up to this specific opportunity, and much more stable. I mean, what stands out in your reading is building clarity, a lot of maturity, and above all, a lot of stability. All right, let's move on to the next Virgo group. This has turned out very interesting. Let's go with the Virgos who are in a relationship. Virgos who are married, Virgos in a relationship, who are living together, who are dating. Let's see how the energies are looking. This is your love reading. For Virgos in a relationship, they start here with the Chariot, the Seven of Cups, the Eight of Swords, the Eight of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, Justice, the Empress, the Moon, the Tower. Bottom card is extra. You guys have the Three of Swords over there. Well, Virgo, the first thing I see, and that catches my attention, is that I feel like you as a couple are going through a pretty deep period of reflection. There's a mix there, like doubts, like there are emotional needs that still haven't been resolved. And I also see a pretty significant process of transformation. Okay, let's start with this energy, with the card at the bottom, right? And this kind of tells us that some things are out in the open, right? Like currently there's a wound there. There's an emotional wound. Sometimes this can feel like emotional distance with your partner. There can be misunderstandings, right? Hurt feelings. There's still fear of suffering again if there has been any kind of exception, or if there is still a conversation pending that hasn't happened yet. So for some Virgos, this could be about a recent wound. For others, it could be an old wound. This will depend on each one of you. But I feel that for both of you, there is a great need to heal something that can no longer be hidden or ignored. Okay, if we move on to this first row, notice that there's the main energy. I mean, the first energy we have. I can really feel you there. Like you want to move something. Like you want to regain control, right? It's like there's a strong need to move forward, to make decisions, to want the relationship to go somewhere. But I see there are obstacles. I mean, I feel like the energy wants to move forward, but it runs into something because doubts show up here. There could be fantasies here. There could be expectations. I feel like there might be some kind of emotional confusion there. So maybe what this is asking you is if you're making the right decision at this moment, or you're questioning your relationship, whether it really has a future or not, whether you should keep investing in the connection or not. If you're living in reality or living in a fantasy, then pay attention to your mind as well, because the mind can sometimes create many scenarios at once. The consequence of this situation, of this confusion, of course, is the blockage that has appeared here, right? And sometimes this feels like you're kind of trapped. But keep in mind that this is really about mental blocks. They're not real, okay? They're more in our minds than what's actually happening outside. But sometimes this energy can make you wonder, what should I do? Or it's like saying, I can't find a way out. Or I'm overthinking the situation. I'm thinking too much. So what I see in the first row, Virgo, is that I feel you want to move forward. But doubts end up keeping you stuck. Like you just can't do it. Like you're hitting a limit. That seems to be the case now in the central energy. You are starting with a very important energy, because I feel that there is a great need here to distance yourself from something that no longer satisfies you emotionally. Okay? And this could be an old dynamic in the relationship. If there were emotional patterns, leaving these patterns behind, repetitions, old resentments, if there have been any, or expectations. This is an invitation to emotional maturity as well. It's like saying, Virgo, you're realizing that there's something that needs to be left behind. Now, here we have patience, perseverance, taking things slowly. So I feel like here we have a Virgo who wants to do things without rushing, but in the right way. You know, it's like you need time to be able to understand. You're looking for practical solutions for this situation. The truth comes here. Clarity comes here. Because justice comes to bring balance. It's like it's time to make an important decision. It's also time to take on some kind of responsibility. So it could be that you have a very sincere conversation with that person, or try to reach an agreement, or make a very mature decision. So what I think here is that the relationship can improve, but only if both are willing to leave behind old hurts, old patterns, and are able to act with more responsibility and more honesty. Okay, if we move on now to the last line, it's a really deep and transformative line, especially because of these last cards. What I see here is that the relationship, your current relationship, has potential. What I see here is that there is love, there are feelings, there is attraction. There is also a great need to take care of and nurture the bond. Okay, there is affection. But what's going on? We already have here what isn't clear. They can be fears, they can be insecurities, there are hidden emotions, they can be fantasies, and sometimes unconscious fears. Right? It's like there's a lot of love, but there's also a lot of uncertainty. We got here at the end of the reading and at the end of this line, right? And I feel like what the Tower is telling you here is that, you know, the Tower, it tears down structures that no longer serve you, that are no longer needed at this moment. So I feel like there could be a very important conversation here, a very important one with your partner, where a truth comes to light. Could this lead to a radical change in the dynamics of the relationship? It could also be a crisis that forces the relationship to change. Okay, so everything that couldn't be sustained. If there was a relationship here, it was an illusory one. That's what the Tower wants to change, what it wants to modify. Okay? So I feel like you've gotten a reading that's deep and complex. Virgo, at this moment, because I feel like it's a time for things to happen. There's a great possibility for agreement. There's a great possibility to build. But there are also fears. There are also ideas that need to be processed. There are many things to talk about. And I feel like you also have to face maybe some uncomfortable truth in order to evolve. Okay? We're not talking about endings at all, but about how the relationship is going to face the changes that are coming. Okay. Well, dear Virgo, this is what we saw in your love reading for single Virgos and for Virgos in a relationship. Have a beautiful day, everyone, and I'll see you here next time.